helps though.
just to get started.
I have to work out after work because I can't like go home after a day and just sit. Like I'm like you have a kid, you have other responsibilities. Yeah. What? Um. Okay. Grab the IFP from my bag. Yep.
It was kind of like an offshoot kind of run. Yeah, just kind of like, oh yeah. Yeah. They were very. I can't imagine.
It's because they said.
It's like their college freshmen. So their news director was responsible for that's how they know
There's not going to be a delay or anything. It's going to be just really distracting if I'm hearing something different.
interrupting Price is Right now. We'll get you right back to the game. There's an update on a major case in Columbus. Columbus Division of Police providing an update. Elaine Bryant is at the podium.
About it, so just wanted to go over a little bit of the timeline. On December 30th, 2025, at approximately 10:04 a.m., Columbus Police Patrol officers were dispatched to the 1400 block of North 4th Street on a well-being check. Officers arrived at scene and located the 2 adult victims suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. We now know that they were identified as Mr. Spencer Tepe and Mrs. Monique Tepe. Their 2 small children were also found in the residence, physically unharmed. On January 10th, 2026, detectives filed warrants charging Michael D. McKee, 39, with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of Spencer and Monique Tepe. Mr. McKee was arrested in Rockford, Illinois without incident. He's currently incarcerated in the Winnebago County Jail and awaiting extradition to Columbus. We believe at this point we have the person responsible for the murders of Monique and Spencer Tepe in custody, and that person is Michael McKee. This is still an active and ongoing investigation. Detectives are still going through evidence, tips, and videos. We can't speak to all the specific details related to this case, so we don't want to jeopardize the ultimate goal of conviction. But what we can say, this was a targeted attack. This was a domestic violence related attack. As we know, McKee is the ex-husband of Monique Tepe. We can say that we have the suspect's vehicle on neighborhood video surveillance arriving just before the murders and leaving shortly after. Detectives were able to link this vehicle to McKee. The vehicle was located in Rockford, Illinois, and evidence was found that showed McKee in possession of the vehicle before and after the homicides. We can also say that multiple weapons were taken from the property of McKee, and there is a preliminary link from our NIBIN to one of the weapons that ties it to the homicides. I want to say that our detectives work around the clock to be able to solve this case, but it's equally important to know that while this is gaining national attention, we work around the clock to solve all of our homicide cases. I'd like to bring the mayor up now to have him say a few words.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you all for joining us this morning. I want to thank Chief Bryant, the women and men of the homicide division who have done an incredible job on this case and so many other cases, 100 cases solved in 2025 because of their tireless work and professionalism and tips and information from the community that helped us achieve such incredible solve rates. I want to thank also members of the press for sharing timely information, including the video footage of the person of interest that we know now is Mr. McKee. Members of the community for supporting CPD's investigation and for continuing to pray and support the Tepe family, particularly these little children. Just want to take a moment to express gratitude, grief, and resolve, not only for myself, but for the entire Columbus community. Grateful to the Division of Police for their professionalism and persistence and for their tireless work and collaboration that led to this arrest. You followed the facts and evaluated every credible lead with intentionality, integrity, and care for the victims and their families. I also want to thank members of the community who stepped forward with video footage and tips.
Okay, Tracy Townsend and Colin Dorsey here. We have been bringing you live coverage of Elaine Bryant and Andrew Ginther talking about the Tepe murders. We are covering this because it has gained national attention. We're going to take our coverage over onto 10 TV Plus.
Right, that's free to download right now in your TV. Put it on there for free, but for now, our Price is Right viewers will send you back to regular programming.
And our residents. I pray this collaboration will help us prevent violent crime from happening in the first place. But it's also a powerful, powerful tool for solving crime when it does occur. The tips that were submitted in this case mattered, and I'm grateful to the residents and businesses who shared information. As Chief described, this was a targeted domestic violence attack that resulted in the deaths of 2 people and irrevocably changed the lives of their children, families, colleagues, and friends. Our hearts remain with Spencer and Monique, their loved ones, and especially the children impacted by this unimaginable loss. As this case now moves through the criminal justice process, we'll continue to respect this investigation and allow investigators and prosecutors to do their work. As Chief said, we will not do or say anything that will compromise the likelihood of a conviction. One thing we can still offer this family is the best possible chance at a conviction and justice for this unspeakable crime. We could also continue to lift up this family in our thoughts and prayers. I will continue to lift up every one of the 84 families that lost a loved one due to violence in 2025. And I know the Chief and the Division of Police will too, in their thoughts and their actions. I know this case has taken on national interest, but I want to tell each of these families, these 84 families, CPD pursues every case with the same intensity, commitment, and resolve. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, sir. We'll take any questions at this time.
Chief, can you comment on a motive in this case? I mean, why did he allegedly kill Monique and Spencer and also leave the children alive?
At this time, we cannot comment on the motive. Again, part of the investigation.
Did you find any other evidence in this home in Lincoln Park?
What I can tell you is that we did search his property and we have evidence, but I can't speak to any specific evidence.
Can you tell us which police agency arrested him and where he was taken into custody in Rockford?
Sure. This case is a great example of partnerships. So our partners with Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, federal agents, took him into custody very close to his place of employment.
What can you tell us about McKee's whereabouts between the day of the crime and the day he was picked up?
Part of the investigation. Unfortunately, as we talked about, we're not able to share specifics, but what we can tell you is that we have evidence that he was there during the time of the actual homicides.
You said there were no signs of forced entry. Are you able to say any more about how he got into the house?
Unfortunately, we're not able to talk about that at this moment.
Is there any indication he had interactions with the kids or the kids may have seen or heard anything at this point?
We don't have that information. Again, part of the investigation, there's just certain things we can't talk about.
Neighbors had said that they had seen McKee in the neighborhood and in front of the Tepe home days before the homicide. Can you confirm that?
At this time, we're unable to talk about specific information, but again, when we get additional information, we'll be more happy to share it to the public.
I know this is an ongoing investigation. I don't know if you can say this, but obviously they were divorced. Are you able to say anything about their relationship after that divorce? It was in 2017. Were they civil? I know he had a second wife as well.
Again, there is, the investigation is still ongoing. Just understand, we're still collecting information. We're still going through a lot of evidence, and there's just some things that we can't speak to right now.
Can you talk about the extradition? Will you be going to Rockford and pick him up, and when will that happen?
I'll let you speak to that.
Sure. We have policy related to extraditions. Felony warrants out of state are primarily handled by extradition companies, and so the determination of whether or not it will be detectives from Columbus or an outside entity, likely an outside entity, but the logistics are being worked out as we speak.
Any idea when that will happen?
I don't know when that will happen.
What kind of weapons did you find in his home?
We can't speak to specific weapons, but we did recover multiple weapons from the home, from his property.
How quickly was McKee a suspect? I know that family told us they pretty much assumed that he was behind this crime.
What I can tell you is that every piece of evidence, every tip that we received, we immediately began to investigate it. So I can't give you a specific timeline, but any information that came in was immediately evaluated and investigated.
Are you able to say about how many tips you received? Obviously, people became really attached to this case.
Do you know specific numbers?
We don't have an exact number of the amount of tips that came in, because some of them were the same or similar. So it was numerous, and it was from multiple sources, which was greatly appreciated from the community, the media, the past individuals that were knowledgeable and familiar with the family, and then the residents of the area, which ultimately led us to this day right now.
Do you believe that's in that video? Sorry, go ahead.
We know digital forensics and DNA play a big role in investigations these days, but it doesn't happen in 60 minutes with commercial breaks. Is there any sense of the timeline of when some of that information will become available to you guys through that testing?
We're continuously looking for information, waiting for information. Unfortunately, we can't give you a specific timeline, but we're continuously working to get that information in.
The family mentioned that Monique previously said that he had been abusive towards her in the past. Was there any evidence or indication of that prior to this incident?
What I can tell you is that we did not have any reports, or we did not have any information related to any type of incidents regarding the ex-husband and Monique.
Can you tell us if McKee and Mrs. Tepe had any contact leading up to this incident, months, weeks?
Any stalking concerns there?
Again, what we can share with you, we are sharing with you. There are some things that we can't share for investigative purposes, but what I can tell you again is that we didn't have any reports or anything linked to that specific location as it relates to the ex-husband and Monique Tepe.
Do you believe he's the person in the video that you shared, the person of interest?
We do.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to an update from the City of Columbus, from the mayor and from Columbus Division of Police Chief Elaine Bryant. The big headline there is that they did find multiple weapons, they say, from Michael McKee's property there in Chicago.
Right, and what we don't know are the kinds of weapons. That was something that Chief Bryant said that's still part of the investigation. But one thing that she did talk about is that one of the weapons that they obtained from that did come back in a NIBIN report, and that is the one that they believe could be tied to that. Now, the NIBIN system, that is the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, that's been around now for almost 30 years.
And so they found that. The other point that we wanted to highlight is the issue of extradition, because as you know, as we've reported, and you were reporting this morning over by the corrections facility, they're talking about how and when they're going to bring McKee back.
Right, and as you heard there, we did get a bit of an update on how and when that could happen. The thing is, we still don't know the how. That was not an answer we did get today, but we did get some clarification on the process in which he would be back here. CPD has a policy on how they transport felony assault charge or felony charged suspects in these cases. It sounds like this will likely be outsourced to a private transport company who will bring him back from Rockford, and that is when he would face charges here in Franklin County, because Monday, when he appeared in that Winnebago County Circuit Court, that's when he waived his extradition, which means he will come back to face those charges in Franklin County. We are kind of in that holding pattern. We don't know when he'll get back. That's really the next step in all of this.
And in addition to what they could talk about in terms of the police, the other interesting fact is that the mayor of Columbus talked about the issue of solving these kinds of crimes. In fact, that there are 84 and that they spend 24 hours there working on all of these cases. And I was struck by the fact that he said tips mattered. This hearing from the community, that video that we were showing our viewers here on 10 TV Plus and on 10 TV of the person of interest.
Right, and when we talk about the tips and the video that came into play of this, of course we know that video that Columbus Police released back on the 5th, that is what they really say played a big part in that. That's that car that they say was there before and after that call. They could see leaving in that video, and that is the car that they tracked all the way back to Rockford, Illinois, that was registered to McKee's name.
All right, so we have covered the extradition. We're still waiting for some specifics on that. Perhaps you were unfamiliar with this, but they have extradition companies. That's who they're going to work with. Weapons, multiple weapons were taken from McKee's property. They are calling this a targeted attack, a domestic violence related attack. Lots of things to uncover as they are working this. We are going to continue to follow the Tepe murders and, of course, the extradition of Michael McKee, the suspect in this, and we will be doing that right here on 10 TV Plus and over on 10 TV. For Colin Dorsey, I'm Tracy Townsend. We now return you to regular programming here on 10 TV Plus.